Wednesday, July 20th, 2002. Today on the Daily Review, we discuss Tamil language film from India entitled Vikram, with your host, me, Professor Joe LaRocca. Now, I know that this is kind of adjacent to a 1986 movie of the same name, starring the same guy, Kamal Hassan, and there is kind of a prequel to this from 2019 that's all part of this universe, which is essentially a gritty crime story universe about a group of black ops, essentially narcotics. Well, they're black ops. They don't have to play by the rules. You know what I mean? They're kind of like Mission Impossible. Are going after this masked killer. Who's killing? He kills two people that start the story out. One's a police, like a police commissioner type person, and so it's like, what's going on here? So it's a follow the clues kind of procedural movie. Sorry, let me turn this light on too. Pretty standard in terms of that. Like, I mean, it all makes sense. Like, oh, they learn this, and so then they go and check out this scene. Now, there are tons and tons of twists and turns and reveals in the later half of the movie, moles and all sorts of people working for different sides and stuff. And I have to admit, I got a little bit confused. The dialogue is pretty fast-paced, so you got to read real quick, which for me hurt the story a little bit. Now let's talk about the action. The action is, I don't know what word to use other than immature. I mean, it looks sweet. When you watch it, you're like, sweet, but it's insane too. It's like Fast and Furious, It's like, well, that's not, come on. Which is a little bit strange because I think a lot of the movie is kind of gritty, like a down-to-earth police procedural with like a bit of style on top of it, and maybe that's too much style. I don't know. I mean, I kind of lost interest in this movie pretty quickly into it. It has very good editing, very good cinematography, sound design off the charts, lighting off the charts in terms of good, just like the best. I really didn't like the music. I thought I was listening to 100% Pure Love from 1990 or something, or like the Mortal Kombat soundtrack. There's like 2 or 3 English lyric songs that, as an American, I can tell you those are the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. It's like, they're like English songs where it's like, you can do it, or whatever. Or it'll be like, drinking is bad, don't do drinking, I got drunk. It's just like a band that would never make it here, but for some reason made it in India because we don't know any better. Or you don't have the first, whatever. That statement made no sense. Redact that. Although the English lyric songs were bad. Yeah, it's interesting. So we follow these guys around. There's a lot of like parallel and non-linear editing where we're jumping back and forth. So it can be a little bit confusing. This is one of the more, even though the plot is very straightforward, since there's so many twists and turns and kind of flashbacks and stuff, I think this is a pretty tough one for somebody to just jump into. I'm like 20 or so Indian movies deep of like more modern Indian cinema, over the past 2 months, and this was the first one since the very beginning where I was like, wait, what? Who's that? What's going on here? Who's the bad guy? So that's on me. But overall, it's just not my type of movie. Like, a little bit too much style. That main actor, Kamal, the guy on the poster, he's really good. And there's some really fun stuff, but, it's like vengeance and, I don't know. It's like a Western. It's got that Western vibe, like a Sergio Leone Western, where you're like, well, who's playing what? Aren't all these guys bad? And then in the end you go, all right. And so there's a sequel coming out. It ends with a nice little cliffhanger. The version I watched was in Telugu, but it's no different. It's just voiced differently. But that's the one they had on Hulu. Hulu, Telugu, in America at least. But yeah, there's no change to it because there is a remake that's called Vikram, something like a Hindi remake, So which I still find is very original. That it's not that ever since like Bahubali, why isn't everything just pan-Indian cinema? Isn't that the best for the market, you know? Why not just kind of make it for everybody? Unless they do that, and then somebody can get in touch with me about what that's all about, why they do remakes in different languages, like with different casts now that kind of idea of like, hey, we can just kind of dub it and bring it everywhere. Maybe different actors, I'm assuming people like their actors, I bet, you know, because you guys seem, when I say you guys, I don't mean that in a racist way. I mean like the Indian fans that I've talked to, who don't necessarily need to be Indian actually, but the Indian film fans, I should say, are very, stick to their favorite actors so intensely. It's like what it was like here in the 40s or something, in terms of like, if someone were like, I don't like bogey, like them's fighting words, you know? So it's different. It's almost like, it's like athletics or something over here, you know, like where people get super intense about it, which is cool. I wish our culture loved movies as much as Indian culture does. Anyway, this is, I don't know, for my style, I found this movie like a little not my style, but it's certainly very well made, and I can't take anything. Oh, okay, so the sequel is available for free on YouTube in 4K. Is that true in the United States, though? Meow Man. I will check that out. Yeah, so I guess that's the prequel then? What's it called? Cathali or something like that? Anyway, I'll look it up. I don't know. Maybe after my grade, you'll stop giving me information on this, because I give it a B-. And it's just not really my movie. Oops, I didn't make the sound effect. Like, I just kind of thought it was silly. I mean, the technical stuff boosts it a lot. Okay, yeah, the prequel. All right, well, I'll check that out. But I think now, this was heavily recommended to me after my start, you know, when I started with, like, RRR and Bahubali 1 and 2. Then people were like, oh, you got to watch this. And then I think when I got into the more parallel cinema, my vibe changed on the subject. And I liked those mainly Telugu films that it seemed like, because they were so bombastic and carefree, as opposed to American action movies, which are, everything's played so seriously, and the special effects are nowhere nearly as fun or creative or joyous. But those, I got a little bit tired of those pretty quickly, and then I saw, you know, what was it called? Kubalangi Nights, or whatever that's called. I saw that one. And then I saw The Lunchbox and Ship of Theseus, and it's like, oh, okay. This is Kathy. Is it good? Do you like it? I'm not like crapping on this movie. It's just not my style, you know? But for some people, I don't know, if you really like big, kind of intense action movies, maybe it's right up your alley. But overall, I felt like the music was from the 90s. It really, and then when I read, I was like, oh, they're redoing some of the themes from the original, so there's some meaning behind it that I missed out on. And, you know, I'm sure this character has a bigger impact culturally that I just wasn't feeling. You know, it's just like, who's this old fuck? But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Meow Man, sub up and you'll see a review shortly if you're not a sub already. That goes for all you guys and gals out there. You can like and subscribe if you like to subscribe. At least just stop by to see Odie. See, she's right there. She's asleep, sort of. It's very hot. It's going to be hot today, so stay cool, stay hydrated. Analyze the color of your urine to make sure that it is light yellow or clear. If it's kind of thick and brown, you may be dehydrated. What am I talking about? Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you very much for watching. More Indian cinema to come. But, you know, I'm more of a parallel boy, it turns out. Because I'm an elitist, northeast, left-wing a-hole. But I am the future.